Solana might be heating up again, and this time the data is starting to back it up. Something pretty significant just happened on the network. Stablecoin liquidity on Solana has surged to a new record, with supply climbing past $15 billion. At the same time, derivatives open interest has also jumped sharply, showing that traders are becoming much more active again. Now that might sound technical, but here's why it actually matters. Stablecoin liquidity is basically the fuel of a blockchain ecosystem. It represents how much capital is sitting on the network, ready to be deployed into trades, DeFi, NFTs, and other opportunities. So when you see liquidity hitting record highs, it usually means one thing. There's a lot of money waiting to move. And Solana isn't just seeing a small increase. We're talking about billions of dollars flowing into the ecosystem, along with a massive rise in transaction activity and trading volume. At the same time, open interest in Solana derivatives has climbed from around $4.9 billion to nearly $6 billion. That's a big jump, because open interest measures how many active positions traders currently have in the market. When that number rises, it usually means more traders are entering and positioning for a bigger move. So right now, you've got two major signals happening at once: more capital entering the ecosystem, and more traders placing bets. And when those two things line up, the market usually doesn't stay quiet for long. Another interesting detail is how fast Solana is growing in the stablecoin space. At this point, the network is handling a huge share of global stablecoin transaction volume, showing that it's becoming one of the main hubs for moving digital dollars. That's a big deal, because stablecoins are one of the core building blocks of crypto. They're used for trading, lending, payments, and basically everything in between. So when a network starts dominating stablecoin activity, it often means adoption is increasing behind the scenes. But there is a flip side to all of this. Rising open interest also means more leverage in the system, and that can increase volatility. Even a small move in price, around 5%, could trigger liquidations if too many traders are positioned in the same direction. So while the setup looks strong, it also means things could move quickly in either direction. Now, stepping back for a second, Solana has been positioning itself as a high-speed, low-cost alternative to other major blockchains, and moments like this tend to bring attention back to the network. Because when liquidity increases and activity spikes, it usually signals that something is building under the surface. And that's exactly what traders are watching right now. Now, if you're exploring the market, one thing that's becoming more important than ever is how you actually store and interact with your crypto. More investors are moving towards self-custody instead of relying on centralized exchanges. One option that's been gaining traction is the Best Wallet app. It allows you to securely store your crypto, but also gives you access to new token launches and pre-sales directly inside the wallet. So instead of just holding assets, you're actually in a position to catch opportunities early. And that's important, because while networks like Solana are attracting capital, the retail side of the market is always looking for the next project that could move fast. One presale that's starting to get attention is Maxi Doge. Maxi Doge is still early, and that's where a lot of the opportunity comes from. Because historically, once projects like this gain traction and eventually land on major exchanges, that's when you can see explosive price moves happen in a short period of time. It's all about timing, getting in before the crowd shows up. Of course, like anything in crypto, there's always risk, and you should always do your own research. But for traders looking for high upside opportunities, projects like Maxi Doge are starting to show up on more watch lists. And if you're exploring something like that, using Best Wallet makes the process simple. You can access pre-sales directly while still staying in full control of your assets. At the end of the day, though, the big story right now is Solana. Record liquidity, rising open interest, and growing activity across the network. Those are the kinds of signals that tend to show up before major moves. So the question now is Solana getting ready for its next breakout?